there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. My name is Angela. I'm a home gardener growing here in my southwestern Ohio, U.S. garden zone 6. And today's video will be a garden vlog. I'm going to share with you things I've worked on here in my garden over these past couple weeks as spring is really finally kicking in after a kind of long, cold, drug out late winter. We're finally getting the warmer temperatures. I don't have my tomatoes out yet, but they've been spending most of their days outside. I'll show you more about that here in a minute. If you want to see what else I'm up to here in the garden, then stay tuned. So I am focused really heavily on landscaping efforts this year, focusing primarily on native plants and trying to spruce up my place a little bit. It was in dire need of some TLC and some like beautification, as it were. I'm going to show you some of those plants that I've gotten into the ground over the past week, and then we'll hit the veggie garden. I'm going to flip you around. What we're looking at here is it's kind of a primarily sunny area that I've gotten a number of things in, and I may not hit everything today in this video, but I will share with you guys everything eventually. I got a tiny little winter holly here. It's called Berry Heavy Gold. So it'll get about 8 feet by 8 feet at its maximum. You know, in the right growing conditions, it should reach that height. And it gets wonderful gold berries on it. And to go with that one, it does need the male version of the plant, which is called Mr. Poppins. That one is right here. This one will stay smaller, about 4 feet by 4 feet. And a lot of these I left the tags with so I would remember. Sometimes I do that when I plant. I'll leave the tags with until I get memorized what's what. This is a goldenrod. It's called Fireworks. Yeah, Fireworks. That'll get pretty tall. And here we have a coneflower. I forget which one this is, but it's not putting on any new growth, so I'm not sure if that's, you know, what's up with that. And I might have actually planted it in a bad spot, because I think that this is a baptisia coming up right here that I moved over here last fall. So we'll see that if that coneflower does if it's living and starts growing, I might have to move it. And here we have this is a Proven Winners Tuscan Gold. It's a Heliopsis helianthoides. I know I'm butchering that. I think the common name is false sunflower, and it's Tuscan Gold. That'll get pretty tall. It should get a couple of feet tall. And moving further back here, this is a grass, and I probably should cut this last year's growth off to give it a fresh start, but it is putting out new growth down there. It's called Cheyenne Sky. I've got 2 of those, and the other one is right over there, and it's already I got that one in the ground first, and it has a lot of new growth already on it. And this little twig here, or stick, this is another coneflower. I'm starting to wonder if that one's alive still. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. And I've got another grass here. This is Blue Grama. And a couple more things to show you in this bed, and then we'll move on. This is an arborvitae called Anna's Magic Ball, I think. Kind of went crazy buying plants, so I don't have them quite all memorized. I did when I got them, and now I started ordering plants over the winter when they would go on sale at these online nurseries, and now they're all arriving and I'm getting them in the ground. This is a Wentworth Cranberry Viburnum. This will get really big, like at least 6 feet. I think it might be closer to 8 feet or so. Gorgeous fall color. Got that at a local nursery here. And I still have a lot of area to kind of cover cover here. This is a work in progress for sure, but we'll get there. And this here is a shrub called Aronia Autumn Magic. That'll get about 6 feet by 6 feet and also produce really good fall color. I'm going to kind of back up to give an overall view of the garden. So yeah, it's a pretty sizable space. I haven't actually measured it, but it's pretty big. And the far end of it will be mostly shade, so I'm getting some ferns and things in over there. And I know that I do need to do some edging. I definitely want to get my beds edged in nicely, and I have the right kind of shovel or spade or what have you to do that, like a straight edge flat tool that can do nice edging. I'm just waiting for some good solid rain so that the ground will soften up, and definitely have plans for the shady part of it here, just kind of one thing at a time. I'll show you a couple other shrubs that I've gotten in. And yeah, over the winter I just went really crazy buying plants when these nurseries would send out their emails with their sales that they were having. So every time I would get paid, I would use my little allowance to buy plants, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. And they scheduled shipping for April, so the plants are starting to arrive now. And I feel like that was kind of a good way to do it, because I didn't have to really put out a huge outlay of money all at once. So I think I'll probably do that again for this coming winter too. This here is going to be fantastic. This is a lemony lace elderberry. That'll get about 6 by 6. But it's very feathery and light green. I'm pretty sure it'll get pretty good fall color too. One of my criteria, other than being focused on native plants, for these landscaping plants I'm doing, is that they must have beautiful fall color, at least in most cases. That's kind of one thing that I'm looking for. And this is another one of those Aronia Autumn Magic. I ordered 3 of those in total. And the last one here, I'm kind of drawing a blank on this, and I wrote it down what I have where. This might be Brandywine viburnum. I'll have to look it up and put it up on the screen. I had all of this planned out nicely on some graph paper, so I feel like it's okay if I can't remember exactly what's what at the moment, just because I do have it mapped out. So it's like all is not lost. I have like a record of what's what, but I was just on such a plant buying spree and planting like crazy, just getting it all in. And these are yarrow, Sassy Summer Sangria. I've got a few of those. This was an effort that I did in the fall with the ultimate goal to screen this transformer that we have kind of in the middle of the yard here. I've got some grasses that'll grow up tall to screen it closer in, and then another ring around in front with yarrow. So I think it'll do the job once it all grows up. And this is another area where I'm planning to do some nice clean edging. And even though I did mulch pretty heavily, the weeds are coming through. And I've recently, for weed control, where it's just too much to hand weed or they're not coming out easily, I have started using horticulture vinegar, and it seems to be working. I bought the concentrate last year, and then you mix it up, you dilute it by a certain ratio depending on what your goal is, and it seems to be effective. So I feel like it's a little bit maybe safer, not as harsh as some of the other chemicals out there. But let's move on to my tomatoes and peppers. So they're doing quite well overall. I've got them sitting out. I've kept them out so they could start hardening off for the last 3 or 4 days and nights. And I'm just going to plan to keep them here. I was wanting to go ahead and get them into the beds, but we're going to have a 40-degree night here in a couple nights, so I'm going to probably need to take them back in one more time. Don't mind these. These are some flowers that I picked up locally. Just haven't planted them yet. But these are the tomatoes that I up potted first, and they're doing quite well. And I've got, there's one more little tomato that I never up potted, and some peppers. These are ones that I haven't up potted yet, and at this point I probably will not. Everything in this section here, I'm just going to plant it as is. But these are some peppers that I up potted a while back, and more peppers and tomatoes there. So these were the later ones to get potted up, so they're not, you know, doing quite as well, not as tall and bushy yet, but you know, they'll get there. And I have a feeling that, you know, all these things will be in the ground within about 5 or 6 days, so it might even still be April. And I don't recall if I've ever planted out in April for tomatoes and peppers. It's possible, but it would have, if so, it would have only been maybe one other time at the most. And everything here in my retaining wall bed, most of this was planted out over the last few years, and it's all coming back nicely. And I'm still adding to this. I want this whole bed to just be packed full of plants. And while I'm here, I think I shared this with you guys when I got it last year, but I got 2 new garden hoses, and these metal hoses were game changers for me. They're so lightweight, they don't kink, they're easy to kind of drag around everywhere, not heavy at all. But I have a link to those in my Amazon favorites. The link is below if you're interested. But that was definitely like a true game changer as far as watering goes, for me at least. Walk over and take a quick peek at the veggie garden, which I'm still trying to get things just tidied up over there. I'm still adding soil, getting it ready. We're coming down to the wire, so I might have to just run with it as it is. And I have like 3 areas of focus as far as tidying up, and one of them is my potting bench here, which has kind of become just a catch-all for everything. So that will get cleaned up, and I'm going to finish mulching. I did most of the mulching last fall, and it looks so nice. But I've got to get some more of these, like all these leaves up that were left over from the fall last year. And then the other area that I want to focus on really tidying up are all these grow bags. So the ones I'm not using, these here, I'm just emptying the soil into my raised beds, the soil that was in the bags, putting it into the raised beds. And I'll probably fold these bags up and kind of bundle them up nicely and just get them out of the way for this year since I'm not using them. Anything just to make it look a little better. And got onions here. They're doing pretty good. I think they need a good watering. We were supposed to get rain today, but I don't think that's happening. It's bright, sunny, and hot. And this back bed, this is where most of my tomatoes are going to go. So still adding soil to that. And yeah, I don't have much more time left. Oh yeah, and I need to assemble my green stalk. There's a lot to do. There's always so much to do. I try not to stress out too much about it just because, you know, it'll get done when it gets done. Anyhow, that's how things are looking here in the garden. I forgot to say welcome to the new subscribers. Thanks so much for joining in. And I think that's about all I have to share with you today. I'm going to keep you updated as I get things done, or if there's anything that I feel like you'd be interested in that's worth sharing. Let me know what you're up to in your garden. And until next time, take care.